For thousands of years, horses have played a key role as part of the human lifestyle, helping us physically, mentally, and emotionally. When horses were first domesticated 6,000 years ago, they were utilized for milk, food, and labor. Now, the emotional bond associated with horses fosters our continued love and companionship with these animals. Why are humans drawn to horses for emotional therapy? We will explore horse and human nonverbal cues and their role in building cross-species relationships. Because horses are prey and herd animals, they have a range of physical behaviors to indicate their emotions to each other, to warn of dangers, or climb the herd hierarchy. A horse's gaze indicates where their focus is. If they are looking at something with both eyes, that is a sign of respect. If a horse is looking away and trying to avoid your gaze, they may be scared or worried. Horses also use their ears to convey emotional responses. When they lay their ears flat against their head, that is an indication of anger and hostility. When their ears are pricked forward, they are alert and apprehensive. If their ears are swiveling around, they are listening and focused. A horse's body language can also indicate their emotions. If they are stiff and upright with a high neck, they are mad or alert. When they hold their tail high, it can be a sign of pride or anger. When their head hangs low, one foot is kicked out, and their body is loose, they are happy and relaxed. Horseback riders and trainers use these cues to understand horses' emotions and gauge their reactions to the training or riding they're participating in. Horses have a range of behaviors to indicate emotion. But how do horses read human nonverbal cues? Through the process of domestication, horses have become attuned to human behavioral cues. In a study conducted at the University of Sussex, horses were shown photographs of the same person, one with a happy expression and one with an angry expression. When shown the angry photograph, the horses had a lateralization bias, a shift of the gaze to the left, which indicated that they associate that expression with negative emotions. The horses also had an increase in heart rate when observing angry photos. This study shows that horses can read our body language and our facial expressions as signs of emotion and react accordingly. In another study, the researchers found that horses are able to remember the emotions presented in the photographs and act on them days later. In order to get an expert's opinion on this subject, I interviewed Kris Latham, owner, founder, and trainer at Cheekye Ranch.
Horses are just so incredibly inquisitive, you know, they're always looking and always able to reach out. They sense so much more than what we give them credit for. It's been a number of scientific studies going on that they actually read emotion, and I'm a total believer for that. The minute you walk in, if you've had just like a day and you're stressed and everything else, and you walk into a paddock and they just, you know, they immediately walk back away from you. The minute you can decompress, go in, they read off of that as well too.
Because of the emotional reflexivity horses convey, they are used for equine psychotherapy treatment conditions such as traumatic brain injuries, autistic spectrum disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and rehabilitation of mental health for therapy patients. Equine psychotherapy allows for humans to feel companionship with a horse to help foster healthy mental states. Many trauma patients are too stressed by traditional talk therapy. Equine psychotherapy offers them a way to heal through metaphors.
We've had a number of groups. We've had young kids, never been around animals before, and the impact's just been incredible. We've had Sea to Sky Community Services here with a number of their mentally and physically challenged adults and children as well too. You know, doing a tour, which we generally do with these kind of groups, coming in and just seeing the impact that it makes from a kid that gets on the ground and doesn't want anything to do with horses until around by the very end, he's actually reaching out to touch.
Horses do not filter their emotions. They show them directly through their behavior, so they act as mirrors that reflect our emotions. Horses and humans are able to communicate through mutual coordination of emotional states of humans and horses, which are going through a coupling process during the interaction. SCOPA 2019. When horses are stressed, they group together and provide support to each other to show strength in numbers. Equine patients can learn from a horse's need to connect to the beings around, in turn reaching out to the people around them for support. In a meta-study of therapy results, it was found that these programs yielded a 71% increase in discussion of emotional trauma from pre- and post-intervention data. Equine psychotherapy allows trauma patients to understand themselves and work through their problems while learning and engaging with a living being. Horses are prey animals, so they flee from shows of dominance. Inmate therapy utilizes this, teaching inmates to train their own wild horses to learn patience, respect, communication, and love. In one study of the Wild Horse Inmate Program, the long-term therapy sessions of between 5 and 12 months had a 33% recidivism rate. This means that fewer inmates were reincarcerated after release from the program. This indicates that through bonding with a horse, inmates learned important skills that helped them solve the mental and emotional problems, keeping them from behaving appropriately in society. Horses and humans have a long and productive relationship, which has continued in the form of riding, competitions, and emotional therapy. The reason that humans use horses as a form of therapy is that horses can teach us how to understand, feel, and direct our emotions in a positive way.
They just feel and see unconditionally. And so they approach things in a different way where we are already, with our upbringings or with our judgments and everything else. But these guys don't do that.
By learning to react and respond to a horse's emotions, many emotional and mental problems can be brought to the surface to be realized.